Hello my friends, welcome back to another art session. This is Prints and Paints. I'm Marcy. It's good to see you all again. This project, guys, is going to be geared towards our happy Irish holiday coming up, St. Patrick's Day on March 17th. And we celebrate it for the Irish and the Irish American culture. If you celebrate, happy St. Patrick's Day. If you want to just do some fun themed projects for it coming up, this is a fun and lovely mandala to do. We are going to touch base on doing a rainbow with a pot of gold, and we have our green hues going on. And it is super awesome and very unique, different kind of project to do. We have this nice rainbow spiral that we will learn how to do. We will touch base on using stencils and templates and just finding some really cute, unique designs with using our dotting rods to make little shamrocks. And it's a super fun project. So if you're interested in doing this with me, stay on the video and let's get to it. Okay guys, so the items we're going to need for this project in particular is a MDF cardboard. So this is the size 12 inches in radius. I'm going to use a 12-inch mandala. I painted it with the Deco R Americana's Lamp Black. It's in the matte finish. I did not spray any coating on it, and all I did was put my guidelines down. I did this by using the ruler I have and to create my guidelines that go around. They are spaced out every 1/4 of an inch apart, so if you're using a compass, make sure that you're doing every 1/4 of an inch. And then I also used the longer side to make my segments. I first used a 16 segment stencil. So you can purchase these on Amazon for a few dollars, and they come in a pack of different segment lines, okay? I like to use the 16. There are some points in this where we're going to focus on doing 8, but all in all, we can have the 16 for extra ones as we get to the outside, all right? So 16 segments. And that was to make my segment lines. These are these lines that come out. Both are super important. Please make sure you don't skip this step because your mandalas can get very off balanced and the geometry of it will not line up properly. To use the lines on that, I used a brand called Faber-Castell. This is a white watercolor pencil. I like to buy, these are found in the store Hobby Lobby in the States here, and usually in the art craft section for fine arts you can find these. You can buy one just as is and they're a few dollars. But this one definitely is one of the best that I've used on the market so far. Okay, if you have one that you like to use, by all means please go right ahead. I'm also going to use a compass today. Surprisingly, this is just my standard compass. This is many years old, and if you have a better one, by all means, you please use it. But I am going to use a compass with the same pencil in it. What else? I'm going to use the Happy Dotting tools, the rods, and I'm also going to be using the XDT brushes to make a few variations of swoops and swipes, and we'll do some swooshes. I'm also going to be using the Westonia's water marble tool. This is my go-to for pulling my swooshes. I like that it has a dull tip to it and it's not sharp, so it won't scratch my mandala when I'm pulling my swooshes. I'm also going to be using a circle template. So this is just a basic combo circle master by Template Designs, alvinco.com. So I think it's Alvin is the brand, and I like to use these. I'm probably going to just use the size 1-inch circle for this, but these do help with certain designs that I'm going to show you on how to do them today. I'm also going to be using, and I used this in my last tutorial that I had. However, if you didn't watch the paid version of it because it was a large mandala, then if the time lapse is there, you may have seen it in the description. But I do have a new stencil out, and this one has these pretty little petal designs. This one I used for the last ballerina type of purple and pink hues for the mandala. Probably going to use this larger one this time around, and we're going to do it with a series of our brushes. And it's a really good stencil for not even just practicing your swipes with your brush, but you'll see. So this is good. So we're going to use this today. All right, starting off, I have my mandala. I have painted it. I let it dry. Like I said, I put my guidelines down. I put my segment lines down. And basically, I'm starting to map out what I'm going to do. We're going to do two different elements, and this is geared towards the St. Patrick's Day theme. We're going to focus on doing some rainbow with gold, and we're going to taper out into the outer portion of doing some really neat designs with the stencils for shamrocks and greens and golds. Okay, to start with, guys, we're going to want to count. Now, I did my guidelines all the way down. I think I left out the very last one. So I finished at a 1/2 inch from my center point. So if you notice, I don't have a quarter marked in here. So my center circle is a bit larger. It's about a 1/2 inch. You can put the extra one in there, but I just didn't want to do it. I felt like sometimes it's not necessary to have so many. Starting here, if you have a 1/4 inch circle, you're going to have to count an extra line, and that's why I'm saying this, because I did up to a 1/2 inch. So my lines is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one out. So I put an X on each little segment line, so I know if you did the 1/4, it's just going to be your 6th line. Okay, and then from there, you're going to count more. So that's your 5th line, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 11th line. Now, again, if you did the 1/4 inch, it'll be your 12th line. We're doing this for a reason, because we are creating this spiral effect, and the rainbow colors consist of usually 6 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. 6 different lines, and that's going to be 6 different size dots that we're going to use to create this. I have another spiral stencil that I have on my Etsy as well. We could try to use it, but I think I'm really just going to try to use a compass on this one, or you can freehand it if you'd like. So I started to do it, so if you can tell right there, what I want to do first, and I want to understand, and what I want you to understand, is that we're focusing on 8 segments right now. We're not doing all 16. 8 segments. I want to have my north, which is here. I want to have my south. I'm aligning these two with my body, with myself. I know that I have a straight line going down the center. Now, if I look at it, I also have a straight line going right across. And this can be my east and my west. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I have this line and this line in between these. I want to do the middle one. So these two, I'm not even going to worry about looking at. It's this one I want to focus on. So then I would have an X going across. So if you can imagine a cross and then an X. Do you see it? Okay. So that is how we're going to do our 8 segments. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right. So if I start at the south port and I'm down, remember I'm at either the 6th line or the 12th line or the 11th line. I'm at 11 because I didn't do that center part. I'm going to take it right here, and I want to go up to where my 5th line was in. Like I said, if you're at this part, you're going to go in 6 lines, all right? I can take my compass, and I'm going to take my pencil and just put it on my line, and not this center one here, but this one, okay? Because this is the line that we're focusing on, not these two, this one. I want to put my point where that segment line meets. So going all the way around here, I'm out 5, and then there's my segment line, so I'm right here. So my point's going to go there. And then I'm going to do this sweeping effect that goes up, okay, just like that. And it's going to fall around this area right here. And this line is going to help us do a series of dots that fall on that line. Hopefully, if this goes well, it's going to work out. But we'll see what happens. If I have this one here, now, again, remember, I am not focusing on these two. I'm focusing on this one. So I'm going to turn it 45 degrees. Now this is my south again, right? I'm going to do the same thing, guys. I'm going to put it up here on this segment over here. And I'm going to put this one here. And I'm going to just swipe up like... And if you can tell, we're making like a series of these spiral looking, right? So we're going every other line, if you see it, okay? Again, right here and there. We're going, oops, wait, did I do that right? 1, 2, 3, yes, I did, okay. See, I'm getting myself confused. Okay, now we're going to do this one. I think it's best if I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. Yeah, it's every other one. Again, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go up. Here. I'm not going to do a time lapse with this, just so you can understand it and watch me do this, so that you don't get confused. Now, if you're not meeting that center line, it's okay. We don't have to dot exactly on this. This is just going to help us get that nice curve so that they're all staying in the same direction. Remember, these are just guidelines. They're not here forever. Okay? And our last one, I really like to line up the pencil versus the point. But, all in all, just make sure that your curve is falling around this area here. So it's not on this line, it's the next one. So they're all kind of connecting each other, okay? And so you should come up with something like this. It looks like a really cool spiral. Now, the center portion, we're just going to focus on doing some dots coming out as well. And then this portion is going to be the pinwheel. Now, the pinwheel is similar to the coneflower design, where it creates this 3D effect. However, the pinwheel is only one side of it, so it looks like it's spinning, okay? And that's what we're going to do with the rainbow effect. And then the outer portion, we're going to do some happy shamrocks and things like that. So we got our mapped out portion here. I'm going to eventually go in with my circle templates on the outer portion, but I want us to focus on doing this painting first, and then from there we'll do our design out here, okay? So you can put your stuff down, your pencils and your rulers and all that. And now we're going to get out our paint dish. Okay guys, so I got a paint dish and I have my paints, so I want to show you real quick the colors I'm going to be using for this portion of it. I'm going to be using a series of rainbow colors, and these colors I felt were justifiable as far as being in a nice bright hue, something that would stand out and work well for this. So all in all, you should have 7 colors. So the red, I'm going to use the primary red. You can also use what's called Santa red, is very similar to this color. This one is bright orange. This is the cadmium yellow, festive green, ocean blue. I love this color. Purple pizzazz. And then for our white, we're going to do warm white, okay? We may do this. I may do gold instead. I'm not exactly sure yet, guys. We might just do white for the beginning. I'm going to get a little bit of each color in my trays. If you need to dilute it with a little bit of Floetrol or pouring medium, please do that as well. And then we'll start painting, okay? Alright guys, so I have my colors all mixed here. These are for later on. They're going to be the greens. I will introduce those to you later. I did add a bit of gold as well because I'm going to add that to my center dot. I am using the Dazzling metallics and the color Splendid gold, just so you know. And we're going to add some white to this as well. Now, to align this properly, I want to make sure at least one of these is aligned with myself. Okay, don't have it like this because then you're going to get confused on where you're starting. At least make sure one of these is down here with you, okay, and it's at your starting point so you understand and know. We are going to focus on starting in the middle and working our way out. So I would say our first dot that we want to do is going to be gold. All right, so I think I'm going to go with a decent sized dotting tool. I think a 9.5 is pretty good. And we're just going to go into our Dazzling metallic, the Splendid gold. And I'm going to get a nice plump dot in that center. Try your best to eyeball that center portion so that hole that you have from the tack from doing your ruler should just be lining up perfectly in the center of that dot that you have. If you need to use the side of your dotting tool to move that paint around, please do so. Be mindful that when you do use sometimes metal pieces like this or your stylus, sometimes it can alter the colors and oxidation of your metallic paints. I try my best to just use this and get that nice plump dot. If I want to add a little bit more, and all you're doing is kissing the surface, so you're acting as if this is like an eyedropper. And it's just going to start pulling that paint right off of my dotting tool. So there we go. I got a nice plump dot, all good to go. Now, I'm going to focus on doing a couple dots around the row, and then I'm going to start moving outwards. I think with, let's see, I'd say the S4. So I'm going to go with the S4 that came with the Happy Dotting tools. It's the larger of the two. You have an S2 and an S4. You can also use probably, I'd say, the size 5 in the stylus as well. I'm just going to use the S4. And I'm going to go into my white. All right, so we're going to go into our white and we're going to make sure we do a dot right here in this little area on each of the 8 segments that we did these spirals. So just make sure you're paying close attention to that portion of it. So for this one, I'm going to dot right here. And if you notice, I'm just going right in the middle there. I can even turn it so that I know that this is always going to be here. Do another dot, turn it again. Okay. And again, making sure I have even amount of space between the gold and where I'm laying down my white dots. Okay, you don't want one to be way down here and so forth. Okay. And our last one. And there we go. So there we go. There's our middle flower looking portion of this. Now we're going to do a series of the same, I guess, same size dot, but we're going to work outwards. So I'm going to start with my purple and work out to my red. All right. And in between those, we'll be doing white. I'm going to start with my purple. The purple is probably going to fall, ooh, let me see. I think the purple's going to be, I think we're going to do the S2 as well. And I'm going to go in between the whites. So we're going to go on the off line, not the one that is with these spirals starting on it. So the one that's in between those. So this one right here. Okay, and I'm going to go in with purple. So I'll do a few to show you what I mean. So that line right here that we're at, I'm just going to dot right in between the two white dots. I'm going to turn it and do it again. And I'm going to go around like this. This is why I like having these segment lines, because you're always going to have your dots nicely straight in a nice perfect row as well. When you start to do geometric shapes like this and designs, it's super important to have these, not even just the mathematics portion of it, but you have to pre-plan these ones and think about them before you do them. And there we go, there's our last color. There we go, purple. Perfect. Now we'll go into blue, and we're going to keep working down the row, all right? I'm going to try to keep them as close as together as I can without them touching each other, okay? So if you can see, okay, so they're close. And if you notice, my blue's falling right into a little bit before this next line here, all right? If I turn it, okay. Now I could probably start speeding this portion up, so we'll jump into a bit of a time lapse here so that you can just see exactly what we're doing here. Okay guys, so if you notice, I fell perfectly aligned with my first portion that I had X'd out, okay? I might be a little bit in from it, but that's okay. This next line is ready to go and it works well. This is what we should be dealing with right now. We worked our way out, and now we're gonna go in with some white. On this line right here, we're going to do some white dots, okay? And how we're going to achieve this one is by doing some small dots coming out, and then I'd say these last ones, we're going to do a larger dot, all right? So I'm going to go again with my S2, and then I'm going to go up probably till about, I'd say, maybe like this line right here where our yellow and orange is. And then we're going to I'm going to flip it over and do S4, and then I'll do one larger dot, probably something a little larger than this. Nothing too crazy. So I'll show you what to do. So we're going to, again, I'm lining this portion up now with myself. I'm going to go in with my white on my S2. And I'm just going to dot on the next, right a little bit below that white dot there. And I'm just gonna evenly space them apart and work my way out. So it looks like I got about 4 dots there in the S2. Now I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna do an S4, and then I'm gonna go in with a maybe I'll do 3.5. I think 3.5 looks good. So we're going to go with 3.5 dotting rod, and right after that, yeah, that's perfect. We're going to do that, and it should fall on that X'd line, okay? So your 3.5 dot should be centering itself with this X'd line, if that makes sense, guys. Okay, you can even probably do that first so you remember where you're at, but it should work out. So let's do it one more time together, and then we'll time lapse the rest of them so that we don't have a 4-hour video. Again, S2. Start right after that center dot there, the white one. I'm getting 2 in 1/4 inch space, if you notice. It's like overlapping a little bit, but it's not terrible. I could do my 4 dots first. I can even do 1 and go all the way around, but that's how we're going to achieve this portion and this look of it. Okay. Okay guys, we finished the center portion already. We're moving along really quickly with this one. So now we're going to start doing our spirals, all right? And then we'll add a few dots in between there, but I'll show you how to do this portion as well. So I'm going to start with one little area of these right here. We're going to start there. And I'm actually going to start here though, not here, and work my way in. I'm going to work my way in and go out. And the only reason I want to do that is because if I start here and I even have a slightest bit off of my dot placements, I could have my 6 colors start getting squished together. And I want them to be nicely spaced apart. I have room to work out, but I don't have room to work in, right? Because I have dots here. If you can remember that, like when you're doing something like this, you want to start at the base of your design and work your way out, because you always have room out here for fixing errors. You don't have room to squeeze them all in because they don't fit, if that makes sense. With saying that, we're going to start with our last color and work our way out like we did with the purple here. To start with the smallest dot I'm going to do, I'm going to go with a 3.5 on my dotting rods, and a little bit slightly to the left of this curved line here, I'd say about here, I'm going to start with my purple. So with the 3.5, I'm going to dot, I'd say on this next line, okay, right below the white dot. And I like to dot so that my dot is centered with that line, not on it, like above it, or not below it. I want it to be centered on the line. That's why I have the line, so that my dot can be centered. All right, so if I did the next one, I'm going to find the line, and there we go. I'm centering myself like that. Okay, I am slightly off, obviously. I'm not going to be looking at these grid lines right now. I'm going to be looking at this curve. I'm following the curve. So again, if I dot here, and if you notice, if you're looking at it straight on, this should be off to the left. That's how we're going to focus on doing that. So again, here, and I could just do all of them real quick. Now this line got a little skewed, if you notice. It's not exactly, that's okay. I can even just take my pencil real quick, and I can kind of just make sure I follow up to the white dot. All right, it got a little cut off there. So I'll just do something like that. Okay, the rest of them seem to be okay. And if they don't look right and they don't feel right, like this one's a little over that, I'm just gonna follow it up to about the center here of this, and I'm gonna cut in. As long as I have that nice, it's like a crescent moon sort of shape. Okay. And this one here. Perfect. There we go. We're starting to move ourselves outwards now. Now I'm going to flip the dotting rod over, and I'm just going to go up the next size. So I'm going to go to 4. And again, you know it. I'm going to do blue, right? I'm going to do blue right on that next line. The blue's falling in the space, the negative space of that 1/4 inch marking right there. So this one, like so. Do that dot again. It came out a little crooked. Okay. Right here. And just give yourself some adequate amount of spacing so that they're all consistent with their spacing. All right, you want to focus on that too. I like to leave myself at least, I'd say, one little notch on the ruler, 1/16 of an inch in between each other. So now I'm going to find 4.5. Okay. I think it's in here somewhere. Let's see. Yep, 4.5 and 5. So 4.5 will be green. Again, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm leaving a nice amount of space between each one. All is going well. I'm falling on each little 1/4 mark. Okay. And there we go. There's our green. And see, we're starting to build this shape now. So now we're going to go into 5, and we're going to go into yellow. Again, if you notice, yellow is now on the next 1/4 inch marking. You should be able to fit all 6 dots, so we're going to end down here. So this one will be orange and then red, if you notice. This is why I love to do so many guidelines. I know a lot of people absolutely hate them, but when you're doing very geometric shapes like this in 3-dimensional designs, they're just super important. Okay. And that's the last one. Perfect. Now I can do my 5.5. So 5.5 and 6. So 5.5 is going to be orange. Now these are obviously getting pretty big, so it's going to fall a little bit outside of that 1/4 inch marking, and that's okay, as long as you're staying on this nice curve. I think that's the most important part, is to follow the curve. There we go. All right, and our last color is going to be the size number 6, is red. And our red should just fall right on that X that we made. And we're centering the red with our guideline, our segment line here. If you find it's a little bit too much space there, move it in slightly. Most of them are going to kind of be perfectly aligned, but this one is a little bit higher if you notice. Okay, and there we go, guys. So there's our spiral. Now we're going to add a series of dots that taper in, okay, to give that spiral effect. Pinwheel effect, I should say. Alright guys, so before we go ahead and start painting, I want to show you where we need to focus on laying these dots down. If we can imagine, and we're going to do some little lines here, what I really want to focus on is that I want my red to meet up with my green, okay? And they need to fall like this. These are going to be outwards, and I'm not concerned about that. I'm going to focus on doing something like this. So I'm just drawing from the center of the red to the center of the green. And I do this because I want to create this like pinwheel effect. It's going to look something like that. Again, if you can imagine, the orange is going to fall somewhere in between the green and blue. Right here. Okay. I like to draw these lines before I lay the dots down because they can get messy looking when you're doing it. Now, once you finish these, we want to focus on the yellow. The yellow is going to fall more like at the end of the blue here, or in the middle of the blue, I should say. The green is going to fall more near the purple, like that. Okay. The blue is going to be in between the white and purple, and the purple is going to be at the center of the white. So you can see it's got this like, it goes like that. That's what you want. So if you see that one of your lines is not curving like that nicely, then just fix it. But it is good to map out and draw the lines prior to laying them down, because once you paint them, it's hard for you to get them up and clean them up. Okay. So it should look something like that when you're finished, and then once we're done with our penciling in, we can start painting the dots. Alright, so I mapped out my lines in between. I made sure that they're all curving. I like to take a look at it before I start painting, just so that I can see exactly what it is I'm going to be getting done. If you notice, over here is a little bit close, so when I do lay my dots down, I might want to come out a little bit on that blue to the middle of in between there. Those are the things I want you to just pay attention to when you are laying down your dots, okay? Just so that, step back from it every time you lay down a row of dots, just so you can see the uniform look, because if it slightly gets messed up, you can see it in this kind of design. So take your time with it, please, guys. So we're going to start with S4 dotting rod, the walking dots. And so I'm not going to really walk the dots, a little bit. I am going to start here and I'm going to follow the line. So if I do my red, I'm going to do the same color that I'm also focusing on. So red goes to red and so forth. So I can do one dot like so, another dot, and then I'm going to walk the dot, like, because I don't want them teeny tiny. I want them chunky to make it look more bigger and chunkier like that. You do more of the dots in one set. You don't dot and then walk it. You dot, dip, dot, and then walk. Okay? And that's how you can achieve that look. So again, if I do it again, I'm going to dot, and I'm centering my dots on these lines now. Dot, and then walk it. And I'm only going to be able to walk it maybe a couple more dots. It's not going to be a lot. Okay, so we can focus on doing our reds, and then we can go back in with the same size. We're going to do the same size actually all the way up till we get to yellow. And then once we get to yellow, because we're getting tinier in here, we're going to flip it around and use the 2. All right, so let's do a time lapse of red and orange and yellow, doing the same technique around. And then I'll stop and I'll show you how to do the S2, okay? Alright guys, so I'm back with doing the 3 different colors here with the S4 size. I mean, looking at the spaces here, I kind of want to stick with this, only because I want it to look, I like the way this uniform looks, and I feel like if I jump down to S2, it's going to be a significant difference of this size dot versus like these are S2. So if you can see the difference, they're quite different. So maybe we could get away with just doing the S4 for the green as well, and then do these last 2. We'll see. Let's see how it looks. So I'm going to go into my green. I'm going to stay with the S4, okay? And this one's a little tricky because I've never done this design before, so maybe if we just do 1 dot and then walk the dots. Yeah, so we're only going to do 1 dot and then walk it. We're not going to dip in twice. So we're just going to do 1 like dot, and then I'm going to walk that dot because I'm getting a smaller line now going tapered in, right? I need to be careful on how big the dots are, because if they're too big, then they're not going to look tapered. They're not going to be essentially a walking dot. 1 is good. 1 dot and doing the walking dot, just like you would normally do on any average walking dot technique that you're doing. Okay. And then the blue will try to do the same thing. And we'll see how it turns out. So this is the last one on the green. Okay. So we'll try blue. Let's see how, yeah, the blue. Let's see. Look at the nice spot of paint on there. Yeah, I think we could get away with doing blue as well. And even purples. I'm going to stay with the S4, guys. We're not going to do the S2. My apologies if you thought we were going to do that, but we're going to stick with the S4. It makes more sense. This way they all look the same. They all look uniformed. I think it looks fine the way it is. Okay. Let's finish the blue up, and then we'll also do our purple, and then we'll be done with this design, okay? And there we have it, guys. So we finished our last 2 colors. So we have our beautiful pinwheel design going on. I do want to add a few more things. So this negative space that's in between each color, I'm thinking about adding a little bit of a row of the white. Alright, and we'll do the S2 for that portion, so it's a little bit smaller. And I'm not going to start at the line. I might start a little bit in here. Maybe at this type of angle here, so you have this dot and then this negative space. So right here and curve in there. and do that little section. I think that would work out. I can show one really quick for you. Okay, right there. And then I'm just going to do a series of walking dots like that. And I think, if you notice, that kind of gives it a nice little bit more of some depth and a three-dimensional feel to it. So I'm going to do that in between each color, guys. So I'll probably do a time lapse on that as well. But I did want to show you one more thing too. When you're doing the purple, make sure that, because it's such a short amount of space there, maybe you can get about 2 of these in one thing. But after you do that, I would recommend cleaning off your tool, because there was one around here where this one, I had a lot gunked on there, and then it didn't give it a nice tapered look like the rest of them. It was a little bit bigger dots towards the end. I just recommend, maybe if you're going to do a row, I would clean it off, dip it back in, and then do it again, okay, in the same style. But just a little tip there to try and do. But in the meantime, here I'm just going to do these, and I'm just centering that and working my way around each color, okay? So we'll do that, and then we'll come back, and this portion of it will be done. There we have it, guys. So if you could see, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. The white actually looks awesome. It gives it this nice depth of this three-dimensional feel. It makes this center portion feel like it's popping out at us, whereas this is this undertone of this element in the center. And the white really just helps that. So that's really cool, and that's a beautiful element for us to be playing around with, working with. I know that this is, a little bit simple, and if you prefer to make these dots a little bit bigger, by all means go ahead. I like the way it is, and sometimes I like when it's just basic, normal negative space, and sometimes less is better. I'm going to keep it the way it is. I think it's starting to grow and look really cool. There's our first element. Now we're going to do some greenery around it, just to give it that nice leprechaun feel and luck of the Irish. So let's start with the outer portion. Okay guys, now we're going to move into the greens. Because you did the whites, your red paint should be fully dry and good to go, okay? You shouldn't have anything that's wet anymore. We can go back with our stencils now and start mapping out the best of this portion, okay? What I also want you to do is get out some green colors. So I would like for you to freshen up your Splendid Gold if you need it. And then my 3 colors, actually my 4 green colors, are going to be this darker green tone here, and that is our Hauser dark green. I believe that's how you say it, Hauser dark green. I have my mid-tone, which is my Avocado. I have my highlight, which is my Celery green. The Avocado and Celery green always go well together. It's on that highlight and shading chart that we have, and I really like these two. And I like the darker green that I have. It's not 100% dark. I have one that's the Black Forest green, and that's really dark, but I like this one, the Hauser dark green, Avocado, and Celery green. And then for an added splash of some bright greens, I have Macha green, and I like this one. It's a unique color. It's not lime, but it's definitely a brighter tone. So you could see these 4 colors here. So dark, mid-tone, highlight, and then a real bright highlight. And then I I'm also going to be maybe incorporating 2 mica colors. So if you don't have these, you can opt to leave it out. You can try to use another kind of metallic green as well. The colors I'm going to be using for the micas that I might be doing is grass green mica powder and blackish green. Okay, they both have a nice shimmer to them, if you can see. They're very shiny. So I went ahead and I made some up. So these are the colors. They are really nice, and I might do them with some top dotting and add some nice colors to them. I'm also going to be introducing you to a new paint, guys, if you are not familiar with Bliss Drops. They are from Deserted Bliss, and she's amazing, Tara. So she sells these on her website, and they are a puffy kind of paint that has a lot of glitter and sheen to them when they dry. And I'm going to be using the color Bambi. So this is a really nice, it's a nice product for just doing swooshes and also doing some top dots as well. I will be using hers. If you don't have her brand and you haven't tried it, I urge you to try. But if you don't want to purchase them, just try to go with a gold color, okay guys? So those are all the colors that we have. So again, try to mix your greens up. And then from there, once you're done, we can start doing some mapping out of a design from this, okay? I think what I'm going to start with is a series of some swooshes with my brushes. Or maybe I'll do some shamrocks first. Let's see. Now, my lines are a bit off here from doing this thing going on, if you notice. There's a few of them that aren't 100% lined through this center point. So I'm going to try my best to just eyeball where I feel is the center. And that's usually going to be like where that green dot is falling. Some of them is right on the line, but some are a little bit really off, okay? So I can try my best to get something going on here. I might even just leave that blank, actually, now that I think about it. And maybe we can just do a row of a herringbone going around, or we can do just a series of dots just to border that and keep it in, because I don't really want to fill in this area per se, because if I do, it might alter this and change the way it looks too. Sometimes that can really happen big time. So I think that's what we're going to do, actually. So let's get out our gold. Let's do our gold, because we have our nice gold in the center, and that was the only gold we really had in this portion. So let's do a series of dots just as a perimeter. Let's try, I think a size 5 would do, guys. So let's get out our size 5 dotting tool and go into our Splendid gold. And right below the red, I'll start. And it's going to fall a little bit past that line. It's not going to fit exactly in that 1/4 inch spacing. So when I do those, I want to just make sure that my top part of my dot is resting on this line here, going around. Okay, I'm going to place that dot if I have to look at it at an angle to make sure. But I just want that top dot to fall on that line. So we'll do this all the way around, okay? And then we can start doing some kind of incorporated design, okay? Okay guys, so there we go. We got our row of our gold dots, and I think it was the best idea because we have this nice negative space, and that's what we want, because we want this cool design to pop out at us, right? And it's just really a nice piece in the center, honestly, and anything we do after that is just going to be to tie in nicely with this. So now that I have wet dots here, I'm going to have to let them dry a little bit, and when we come back, I'm going to stencil out a couple of these larger ones here. These ones I'm going to be focusing on, and I'll show you a really neat design that I'm going to do with that, and then we'll incorporate some other things with the circle template, and we'll be almost done, guys, already. I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to come back to it. Go get yourself a coffee, and I'll be back here, okay? So I'm back. This is getting pretty dry now. It's a little tacky, but it's not terrible. It's workable. What's nice about the ring too that I wanted to add is that it was able to cut off from going off of these lines, because I still wanted to focus on doing these nice guidelines and these segment lines. And when you are going in this little area right here and it's completely off from that because of this angle, and it would have messed up a lot of other things too. So at least this border can act as a barrier, and so now we can focus on using these nice segment lines again, and it won't alter anything and change anything. So I'm going to get out my Petal stencil, okay, and I'm going to use this little portion right here. So what I'm going to try to do here is where the top part meets, I'm going to lay it down to where it's just going to be touching those dots, and then this portion and this portion, these two parts, are going to be on that segment line, okay? And so when I trace it out, you'll actually see something like this, okay? You'll get that nice cool design like that. And what we're going to do is get a brush, and we're going to do some swoops, or whatever they're called. So I'm going to do every other one. I'm going to do, basically I'm going to be doing where the red dots are, okay? Since I started on that one, I'm going to do those. And then around this area, we might do like some shamrocks and whatnot, but I'll do these first. So I'm going to line these up on every other segment line. So if you notice, like this one, I'm going to line this one up. So, and then, so there we go. And that's just gonna, I'm just gonna draw that so it goes all the way up to there. And so this one I'll skip, and then I'll do this one, and so on. I did my little petal stencils all the way around. And so now I'm going to get out my brushes. So I'm going to get out the 3-0 brush. This is probably one of the smallest ones that come in the pack, okay? Let's see. Yeah, I would say it's the smallest one, because there's a 2-0 as well, but this one's even smaller. It's 3-0. And I'm going to go into my darker green color, this one right here. So it's that Hauser darker green. And what I'm gonna do, now this is a little bit different from your average swipe that you would normally do, like the type of style, so you'll see what I mean. So I'm just gonna get enough on my brush, and I'm gonna start at the base here on one side and push down, and I'm just following that line that I had made, okay? And then the next one, I'll go back into the paint again, and then I'm gonna actually join the two. So I'm gonna push this down on this side and swoop up like so. It's actually going to look something like that, okay? You're not gonna have an opening to it, realistically. If I did the next one, that's why I like to use the little brush, so that it actually fits perfectly in that little mapped out line that you drew, okay? And these look really beautiful. Some people wonder, how the heck did you make it? Because it's so perfectly looking of a V shape, which is cool. But so we're going to do that for each one, and then we're going to go in with a few other colors, okay? So I'll do these. Okay. There we go. So, how many of my followers here celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Are you Irish? Are you non-Irish? Do you celebrate it? Are you from another country where you don't celebrate it? Or you do? My family doesn't go all out. I'm a little bit Irish. I'm actually mostly Scottish. I am from the Cameron clan. That is where we are descended from, the Cameron clan. But I believe it was my grandmother did have some Irish in her, so we have a little bit of Irish. We have that Northern European, for sure. But yes, I do like to celebrate. I do to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. We always make little St. Patrick's Day hats, and then we eat our corned beef and cabbage dinner. It's fun. It's fun for the kids. I don't know if any of you watch television and you're familiar with the show The Office, but I don't live far from the actual place that the show takes place in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I actually lived in Scranton for a good 6 years while I attended art school. And Scranton is known for having these huge St. Patrick's Day parades. They go all out, and if they have it on a Saturday, they have it like all day long. Goes into Sundays usually. They used to always have the cast of The Office come to Scranton, and they would do book signings, and there's a real restaurant called Cooper's that they go to in the show, and it's one of our favorite seafood restaurants that we like to go to. And it's funny because the show really does, even though it's not filmed there, a lot of the things that they talk about in the show are really in Scranton. So it's funny. And when you live there, it's this huge phenomenon thing. It's died down now, but when I lived in Scranton in 2009, 2010, people would go crazy for the cast coming, and they would be part of the St. Patrick's Day parade. And sometimes some of them still come around and will pop in and have lunch at Cooper's and surprise people there. But it's really cool. It's fun. I miss those kinds of things, being in the city there. But good times. Yeah, Scranton has one of the biggest St. Patrick's Day parades, though, I'd say, in the northeast area here of Pennsylvania. They definitely go all out. I'm looking forward to seeing some bagpipers and drinking my stout and having a good time with friends, hopefully this year. Alright, so the next color we're going to do is Avocado. This is our mid-tone color. And I'm just going to get enough on my brush. And now I'm going to go right in the same area. So I'm just going to go inside and follow the curve. And I'm going to do it again on the other side. Just like that. Alright, if you can see it. So that's cool. And then we'll go back through and probably finish up with our celery green, which is going to be our highlight just for this portion. And then I think what I want to do in the center is have a nice little gold dot in the center. I'm going to finish up these avocado swipes, And then we'll get into doing our celery, and I'll show you how to do that. Once these are dry, I probably will do some walking dots on top of this color with some gold, just to give it some depth and some three-dimensional feel to it. And then we'll do some circles and stuff around here too, I'd say. So now we're going to go into, I'm just going to add a drop of water, not a lot, just a little bit, just to loosen this up. I like to add water sometimes, and it's really just a drop of water is what I need. So I'm going to get into my celery green. This is the highlight color. And this we're going to go right on the inside, like, okay. And we'll do that one, we'll do this design like that for each of these, okay. So now I'm going to fill in this center portion. So I'm just going to do one dot and then a little bit of walking dots around it. So I'm using my size number 7 tool, and I'm going into the Splendid Gold. And I'm just going to center that nice little plump dot right in there. And I'm going to do that for each of these. And then once it dries, I'm probably going to go over it with my bliss drops, just to add some dimension to it, and also some nice sheen, because the bliss drops will give a nice glitter effect to it. Okay, there we go. Now I want to get some walking dots just in this little area right here. So I'm going to use my S2 in my gold, and just very carefully I'm going to dot on the segment line, and then I'm going to walk the dot up and around that gold dot, and that just gives it a little bit more of some nice added flair to it. Okay. Because we have this dark green on a black background, it's a little hard to see. I can see it, but maybe from a distance we might not be able to. What I want to do is add a highlight around it. And so I'm just going to go back into with my gold. Same brush. And I'm just going to, and instead of doing all of this, I'm going to go from the top and go down. So let me show you. I'm going to do one here. So I'm just going to flatten this and slowly come down to the curve, like, and then on the other side. So it's going to look something like that, and then we'll have the green on the inside. And then we can go back in and we'll start doing some circle templates. So I'm going to map out a 1 inch right here, and then I'll show you a really cute design that I love to do for these. So I'm just going to do this for each one all the way around. So I'm going to try something a little different. Because my paint is still wet and I want to keep painting and going forward with it, you could do one of two options. So we can use our stencils. So we can use our circle templates, and I want to use the size 1, okay, 1 inch circle. However, I do want to say that I can always use a compass. I just have to keep in mind that when I'm doing a compass, I have to do it a 1/2 inch marking, not 1, because I'm making a complete radius, right? I'm making the complete circle. I think I'm going to come down. So the third line down from these center portions here, I'm going to put my compass, the pointy part, right on the segment line that I have going on here, right there. And then I'm just gonna draw out a 1-inch circle. I'm not good at this at all, but I will try my best. So there's one. And then we can do, really we could just do one for each one. Okay, I got my circles all mapped out. Now, this is my trick. We are going to make some shamrocks. So I'm going to get out my size 5 dotting tool. I'm going to freshen up my light color, the Macha green. I'm going to refreshen that a little bit in my tray and mix that around. And remember to clean off my dotting tool first, because I don't want a lot of paint on there. And this is what we're going to do. So I'm also going to get out my micropolar, okay, the water marble tool. And I'm going to dot in here. And now this segment line I'm going to use. And so what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to dot one on this side of the line. And I'm going to dot one on this side of the line. And then with my puller, I'm going to make a little U shape here to join the two. Fill it in. And then I'm going to pull this down at an angle so it starts to come into a V shape. This one too. And then you just pull the paint to fill it in. And there we have a shamrock leaf. It looks like a heart, but it's a shamrock leaf, and I'll show you. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to mirror the same thing. So bring that little swoop in to combine them. And now I'm going to join these down here into the center. And pull this paint down. Like that. There we go. And now I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I'm going to go above this. So this center line here I'm looking at. So I'm going to do a dot on either side. Join them up here. Fill that in. And then pull this side down to a point. Sometimes you might have to get some on there. And then this side as well. Okay. And dot over here on this side of the line. And then dot on this side of the line. And we can make this shamrock medallion. And they're super easy to make, and they're fun, and it's just a really cute little pattern. So there's our shamrock, see? And then we can eventually just erase the lines, and we've got some really cool shamrocks going on. I'll probably do some fill-ins or top dots in here too, but I have to let it dry first. So I can do that for each of these circles now. And we can have this really cute little shamrock shape, and then we can do some more colors of the greens and whatnot, okay? So let's do these first, and we'll do a time lapse of them, and then I'll meet you back. So now that we have our nice little layer element with our walking dots, our swooshes, and our cute little elements of our four-leaf clovers, I want to tie in this nicely so that it creates a border. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my Splendid gold color, and I'm going to use the S4 dotting tool from the Happy Color, and I'm just going to dot one center dot below the Shamrock. That's my starting point. And then I'm going to dot again, and then I'm going to walk the dot, but I'm walking it outwards towards the swooshes that we made. And I'll do it on the opposite side as well. And this is just going to help us create a nice border so that we could start our next level of design. So we'll do that for each of them and then meet back. That we have finished that nice little border, I'm going to get out my mica color. This is the color grass green in the mica color, so if you are making these, please make yourself a batch of this and use it up. If you don't have this, you can always opt to use the Deco or Festive green metallic color, or they even have the Treasure Gold green gold on the market. Both of them are a nice shimmer green color that you can use. They just might be slightly off. With this, I'm just going to make myself a nice dot. I'm going to squeeze out the dot. So if I was going to use a dotting tool, I'd probably use about a size 3.5 to 4. And I'm just going to put that at the base there of those. Out my bliss drops. This is a wonderful color, and I'm just going to add some top dots to those large gold dots that we did. And again, if you don't have bliss drops, I recommend you taking a look at them and trying them out. Tara is a really wonderful artist, and she has created these fine paints for us. Let's support small business and support Tara. So now that we have finished our gold dots, our top dots, we're going to focus on that small area and use our S2 dotting tool. And I'm going to go in with the darker green, the Hauser dark green color. And I'm just going to dot one dot underneath the metallic green that we did. And this time I'm just going to walk that dot around the metallic green color. We're going to do a series of different colors with these walking dots here, and so let's do this first portion for each of these metallic green dots. So now we're going to go into our mid-tone green, which was our avocado green color. And we're going to do the same concept, so we're just going to use the same dotting tool as the S4, and I'm going to dot right below where the dark green Hauser was, and I'm going to walk my dots up around that same design, okay? We'll do that for each of those that we just did. You guessed it, so we're going to do one last color. So we're going to go into our celery green color. This is our highlight color that we're choosing. And again, I'm going to use the same size dotting tool, the S4. And I'm just going to go down to the next line that is available for my guidelines. And I'm going to dot with my celery green and walk my dots up from there. Okay, and we'll do that for, again, every single one that we have. And then we'll come back and finish out the design. we finished walking our dots, we're going to go back into our grass green mica color. If you want to use the metallics, go right ahead. I'm also going to use my water marble tool, and since I have it in the bottle, I am just going to squeeze out one small dot, and I'm going to pull that into a swoosh. I am dotting adjacently directly underneath the shamrock shapes that we had done, so it's going to be centered with that. And then I'm also going to be focusing on doing that on the last line. So my dot's going to fill in that small portion there, which is about 1/4 of an inch, okay? We're almost finished. So now I'm going to go in with my brushes. So I'm using the 30 brush. This is from the DT brand, sorry. And I'm going to go in with using my Splendid Gold, and I'm just going to create a bunch of brush swooshes. Okay, so they're going to be the brush strokes. And I'm going to start at one corner of that swoosh that I made, and I'm going to paint and curve from inner to outer and back in. Okay, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to mirror that on the other side as well, and I'm going to do that for every single one of those green swooshes that we did. Our last part here is we're going to start with our darker now. So we did our highlight. Now we're going to go into our darker tone of the Hauser dark green. I'm using the same size brush, the 30. And because I started at the base of my mandala, it's the very bottom, I'm going to go to the next line up from there. I'm going to start at that line. I'm going to push slightly with like pressure, and I'm going to follow that curve as well. I will do that for the second one as well. I'll zoom in and show you so you can see what it looks like. I know the darker green's a little hard to pick up on this video, but so I will do that for each one, and then I'm going to go back in with these other colors as well, and that will tie in this nice little area, okay? So you guys, I'm going to go in with the avocado color now. That's my mid-tone, and I'm going to just go up the next line up from where we were. If you're counting from the base, it's going to be your second line up, your guideline. And again, you're just going to want to put slight pressure with your brush, and then with a nice sweeping motion, follow that up. As you can see, you start to really curve in and make sure that you're doing a nice curve and following that organic flow. That should be your close-up of what it looks like. So we'll do that for all of them. This is our last color, guys, we're going to do. So this is our celery green, our nice highlight, and we are going to use the same size brush as we always have been, and we're going to just go from that next line up, okay? That is how we achieve this nice look of these designs, is that we're just going to follow those guidelines. That's the most important part of it, making sure that we do every 1/4 of an inch, and you'll get a nice design when it's completed. So that's just what it should look like, and it's coming out beautifully. And they're all tying in. If you notice, I'm all bringing it into that gold dot area there. I'm going to do that for each one, and then we'll be finished soon, okay? Guys, now that we finished that portion of our elements, I'm going to go in with a new color. So this is my blackish green, and it is the mica color. If you do not have this color, you can always opt to use your metallic green you had and just add a little bit of the metallic black to mix together to make a darker metallic green. Okay, that was probably the best way to do substituting the colors. I'm just going to use a little bit. I'm going to squirt some into my tray and dilute it just a tad with some water, just to loosen up that paint because it is a different consistency. And I'm going to use the same size brush, and basically I'm going to focus on the walking dots that we had done. They should be fully dry by now, and we can focus on doing some swoops around it. So I'm going to start at the base for this one instead of the top. And so I'm going to start at the right and just follow that curve up with my brush, and then I'm going to do it on the opposite side as well. I'm going to want to do that for each of my walking dots, and then when we come back we'll do another color of this, okay? Now that I finished the green color, the blackish green, I'm going to go in with my Splendid Gold, and I'm using the 3-0 brush again. I think I've been using this mostly for this whole project, but I'm going to want to go the next line up and follow that same curve with the brush stroke. I'm going to bring back in that white element color. I'm going to get out my warm white, and I'm going to put some in my tray. And I want to just bring this back down into my elements, and this is just going to add a nice bonus highlight to it. It's going to make it pop. I'm going to use the same brush, which is the 3-0 brush, and at the top portion of what I had done before, now that my paint's starting to dry, I can add some white paint to it, and I just want to fill in that extra little tad bit piece that's on the top there, and just to bring it all in together, okay? And then on the other ones, we're going to do a same design element. So we'll do that for each of these first. And now, so using the same color that we had, I'm going to use my S4 dotting tool. And I'm just going to basically make a nice little tie-in design with these two I have on top of each other. So I'm going to do a series of walking dots. I'm going to start where the gold is, and I'm going to walk my dot up to that center portion in there. And then I'm also going to do the top part. So I'll do these on the bottom first, and I'll bring them in. If you notice, they're filling in that nice negative space now. And now I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to work my way down into that inner portion too. And that kind of just creates this nice cool design and a border to border that nice big element we have, where we have our stacked swooshes on top of each other. And like I said, this is just a really nice filler. So we'll do that for each of those as well. Okay guys, and now so most of our design is finished at this point. We just are going to go back in and start adding some extra dottings here and there, top dots. So with my S4, I'm going to go in with the darkest hue, the Hauser dark green, and I'm just going to add one small dot to each of those little petals that I did on the Shamrock shapes. And this just adds a little bit more of some depth to it, some texture to it, and makes it pop and stand out. It reflects the other dots around it too, so the composition is really nice. Okay, so we'll do that for each of them as well. I finished the mandala, and I think we're good. I don't want to have to add any more areas. I think negative space is nice. It has our cute little 4-leaf clover elements and the green for the St. Patrick's, and then we have our pot of gold with our rainbow down the center. It looks amazing. We have to now just prep it, and we have to remove our guidelines and put a varnish on. Remember, if you're going to do a varnish, if you do have a lot of metallics, you will want to put a gloss varnish on it versus a matte. Matte will make the sheen go away, and then all this nice shine and gold plated things will not be there anymore. They will be very muted. So remember that, guys, gloss on metallics. And that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just using Mr. Clean Magic erasers, my foam ones, with a little bit of water, and I'm just going to quickly remove my guidelines. And then after it's all said and done, I'm going to put some varnish on, and then we'll see the end results, okay? Thank you so much for joining me on this fun project. It was a lot of fun to do, and I hope we learned a thing or two. This was a really intricate pattern, and it really gives that extra added bonus to creating some really interesting and detailed patterns for your mandalas. It's definitely professional looking. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you can, please, if you aren't already, subscribe to the channel. It really helps my algorithm and getting my videos out there in the sea of other YouTube content creators. And give the video a like, share it with your friends, and share it on social media. I don't mind. I love to get my name out there. So thank you all for your support, and as usual, happy dotting, guys, and may the luck of the Irish be with you. Take care, guys. Bye.